Downer.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a fun episode. The topic is, as you voted, is top 12 cancelled TV shows. I decided to expand it a little bit and make it cancelled slash ended because a lot of the time when I was doing my research, a lot of the times it was really unclear if it was actually cancelled or if it was the creator's decision to stop it. So it's like that. But I've got a great panel here. I've got Richard. Richard, how's it going?
Doing good. It's my first time on the show. I'm excited to do this and list some TV shows. Hopefully they get picked. If not, it happens. So it's gonna be fun. Yay.
And also here's I've got Ryan. Ryan, how's it going?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you very much for having me. Happy holidays to you and everyone at Take 3 and everybody who's watching this. I'm happy to be here. I know I've been retired lately. I've been in Del Boca Vista, living my retirement life, and I'm back here. I'm happy to have fun. And I got a laundry list of shows that maybe 2.5 people on this big planet of ours may have even heard of, much less watched. But it's going to be fun either way.
But yeah, how the show works is we go on do a roundtable discussion and each throw out a show that we think should be on the list of top 12 shows that have either been cancelled or ended. And then at the end, we rank the 12 that make the list. And I'm going to start with Richard. Richard, what is the first show you're going to bring up?
The first show I am bringing up is a show that pretty much without this show, you wouldn't have shows such as Friends. You wouldn't have How I Met Your Mother. You probably those types of shows, as Seinfeld possibly. And the show I'm nominating is Cheers. Cheers went on for 11 seasons. It is still holds up today. It's a really good show. I mean, the majority of it still holds up. I mean, Ted Danson's character was in Modern Time. He'd get a bunch of sexual harassment suits. But Cheers has stood the test of time. It still has. And I think it should definitely be nominated. But that's just me.
Ryan, what do you say about Cheers?
Well, I do know for a fact that this show or should I say the atmosphere of this series it's a place where everybody knows your name, and that's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing to have in life. However, I'm not sure if this should make the list because I don't know all the facts, though, because I've only seen some of the shows or some of the episodes of the seasons respectively, but they knew the end was coming, so it's kind of like. And I saw the finale of this, actually. I remember seeing the series finale of this. I think it wrapped up very nicely, so I don't know why this is perhaps being brought up. But then again, maybe there's some other facts that I'm just not... I don't have all the facts in front of me. Maybe I missed something during our pre-production meetings here. But I don't know. For me, it's going to have to be a no for Cheers. As much as I love the series, I just felt like I saw the end scene. To me, it looked like it ended just fine. I don't think it's one of the ones that should be on this list, for I don't know, certain qualifications of this series. But I'll leave it up to you, Malcolm. What do you say?
Well, I mean, it's one of those ones like it's why I left it open like this. But even though that may have ended perfectly, then it counts. It's one of those. It's one of those ones in which, but yeah, but I've actually never seen Cheers at all. So.
Wow.
Honestly, Malcolm, you can say no. I was just trying to feel it out and see how the vibes were working. So,
I mean, it was going to be a no anyway because I've never seen it. So.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh my gosh, Malcolm.
That's fine. I was trying to feel out the topic here. So okay.
The Take 3 audience is thinking, oh, why, Malcolm? Why?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of shows that I've just never got around to watching.
Okay.
Cheers is a good one, though. I'll admit it.
I got the feel for it. I know what type of shows I'm picking now. I wasn't sure still that concerned topic when the calls ended. Got it.
You're testing the waters, and that's fair game.
Yeah. But Ryan, I'm going to go to you next for your next show.
Next show? You mean my first one? But I know what you mean. It's okay, Malcolm. We still love you. It's okay. One show that I think was this would fall into the category, I believe, of the terminology is canceled. It should never have been canceled. This series had a great amount of potential. It should have continued on for another couple of years, at least from where I was sitting. I've watched all, I think, 26, 28 episodes of this series when it was on the Sci-Fi Network, and that would be Alphas. Alphas is a very underrated, very, very excellently made, well-acted series that never really got a chance to grow and really gain even more traction, more fans, and more good stuff or positives with the audience. So I'm going to nominate Alphas. You had an up-and-coming cast. You had the veteran actor David Strathairn as the Professor X character leading these heroes known as Alphas, who have special abilities. They're solving cases together, so they have different cases of the week type thing. You had guest stars from, I believe, the original Bionic Woman, Lindsay Wagner guest starred. You had what was her name? Summer Glau was a guest star from Terminator: Sarah Connor Chronicles as well. She was on Firefly. So you had a really strong guest starring cast as well as a series regular cast for this series. And Alphas, I think, should be on this list because it is truly one of the best. I mean, even though it borrows some elements from other familiar shows, it still, to me, was an original enough to where I could really relate to some of these characters. You had a character on there who was being portrayed as autistic. And I work with autistic individuals as one of my jobs, and I love that. And I love the portrayal that they did of this character on screen. I believe it was Ryan Cartwright from Bones, who was really good as that character. So I'm going to throw Alphas and put it on the table. What say you guys?
I had to Google this because I've never heard of the show at all.
Which is sad, once again. But that's okay.
So Richard, it's all on you. What do you say about Alphas?
I did see the show Alphas, and I love the kid who played autism because he was on Bones, and he was the best thing about Bones as an intern.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, I mean, as much as I loved it, and it ended on such a weird cliffhanger.
Yes, it did.
The problem is, there were other shows like it that were better than this one, particularly like Heroes. As much as people debate about Heroes, their first series, and that the X-Men one, it was back in the day. I forgot what the X-Men. However, I did really like the show, and I'm gonna say yes because I do like Alphas.
There you go. I was like, you're really doing this to me right now? But no,
Yeah.
All right.
I do like Alphas. I think it should be
a little
on
bit of a
those.
trick there, Richard. I see what you're doing there. I like it. All right, Alphas does make the list. Congrats, Alphas. We love you guys.
Well, it's back to me for my first show. I'm gonna, to no surprise of anyone, I'm gonna bring up Timeless. This was a great time traveling show, and the way it was built around of this megalomaniac evil dude trying to change history to try and take over the world. I'm not too sure what his goal ultimately was, but he was going around changing history and doing all the stuff while this group was going around trying to stop him up. This was a great show. With season 2, it ended up with the evil dude from the first one actually being on their side, and then and it's just one of those ones that when it was cancelled after season 2 because. But fun fact: this was initially cancelled after season 1, but then they brought it back and said, "Oh yeah, we're just kidding. We're not cancelling it." But they cancelled after season 2. I was hoping they were going to do the same thing, but they didn't. But they gave us a TV movie to finish it off. But there was a moment in which I thought, they're going to finish it on a perfect moment. They're not going to throw in a re-tease for anything else. But they throw a little bit of a tease at the end, which annoyed me. But this is a great show. It had a lot of potential for a lot of more seasons. But yeah, Timeless is on the table. Richard, what do you say about Timeless?
I've not seen Timeless. So,
Oh,
so I guess it's all Ryan.
It's all on Ryan.
Jeez, why did I get put in these kind of positions during these wonderful shows that we air so frequently throughout the calendar year? Richard, do yourself a favor. Watch Timeless, because it is actually one of the somewhat more original time-traveling sci-fi series I've ever seen. I liked the cast from the get-go. Goran Viznik is who you're thinking of, Malcolm, that played the bad guy that later turned. I remembered him best from ER on NBC. Once again, Timeless was on NBC, so he's kind of have a little bit of a commonality there. Here's the funny thing. I got about halfway through season 2, and then I had too much on my plate. I had to put Timeless over to the side. Then I hear it gets the axe, and then they brought it back for a 2-hour movie event to clean up the story, to finish it out, what have you. But I can't say what I thought about the finale or not, but this was a good show. I think it should have stayed on for definitely a couple more seasons, and I think NBC was very unjust of what they did, especially to the creator of the show. He's done some good stuff in the past. I believe it was it Sean Ryan or something like that, or somebody who worked on Supernatural, or was it Tim? I can't remember. I have to do some googling. But yeah, I'd say go for it. I'd say we add Timeless to the list. It was an underrated show. It should have gotten more eyeballs. It's a good show. It's a good show.
Richard, we go to you for your next show.
Yes.
This one, okay, since I got the feeling for it, I think definitely this should definitely be on there. I'm choosing Angel. Angel lasted for 5 seasons. I thought it was a great spin-off to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. David Moranis killed it in this role. Last season, I really enjoyed the last season, but since they knew the show was ending, it left on such a weird, it was a cliffhanger that I loved the cliffhanger for the series finale, but at the same time, I wanted more, and I was always bummed that they canceled it so soon, and I think it deserved at least a few more seasons to get a fully wrapped up. We got some in the comic books, but not as enough. I would have loved to see more, so my next nomination will be for Angel.
Brian, what do you say about Angel?
Well, I know he appeared on a little indie series called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and there was certain reasons why I watched that show, and I think you know why. S to the M to the G. She's a great actress, wonderful person. Love you, Sarah. However, I have not seen the spinoff known as Angel. I have not seen it. I know it's got its following. When I go to conventions, I hear people talking about Angel. I've seen people talk about it online and how much they love the series and how it was unjustly, stopped or canceled, what have you. But I can't say whether I like it or not because I've never seen it. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no/abstain, Your Honor.
Yeah, I've also never seen it.
Oh my gosh!
But then I've also
Great.
never actually seen. I've also actually never seen Buffy. So,
oh, dude, Buffy's got some good stuff in there.
Oh, I mean, it's on the list of shows that I do want to try and catch if they ever put it on Netflix over here.
They need to.
But yeah, why don't we go back to you for your next show?
I feel like we're going to hear the word no a lot during the course of this broadcast. So if you're watching this at home, strap yourselves in because we may be on for a couple of hours. Just saying. Oh boy, where do I go from here? All right, this one's probably not gonna. You know what? I'm gonna pull one of my risky moves. I'm gonna put a card on the table and see where it lands. This is a series that had an excellent cast, and I feel like when you have a familiar formula for a show, in this case it's a legal drama. We've seen so many legal dramas come and go, and we've had good ones, we've had bad ones. We've certainly had our fair share of bad ones. But this one I feel is one of the more underrated ones, and it's because of its excellent cast led by the very awesome James Woods. It was on CBS. It was called Shark. It's about a former defense attorney played by James Woods. He plays Sebastian Stark. He has a crisis of conscience. He switches over and becomes a prosecutor working for the DA's high-profile crime unit in the city of angels known as La La Land, LA. And he leads this inexperienced young team of prosecutors, takes them under his wing, and they solve cases together. This series would not be half as good if it wasn't for James Woods. This guy oozes excellence. This guy oozes charisma. This guy has the gravitas, if you will. When he leads this series, you listen to every word he says, and you cannot take your eyes off of this guy. James Woods, I thought you were great as Hades, as the voiceover in Hercules. But when you come into the live action world, son, and you lead this team, which, by the way, had one of our Smallville veterans under his wing, known as Sarah Carter, who guest starred on Smallville. What's up, Sarah? We love you. This series was so good, it ended out of the clear blue sky after only 2 seasons. And also, Jerry Ryan was the DA in this series. Jerry freaking Ryan, one of the most beautiful women yet awesome actresses on the planet, was killing it on this show, and they ripped it away from my heart. Too soon, CBS. Too soon. So I'm going to put Shark, starring James Woods and company, on the table. And Malcolm, I know you're doing some Googling on this. What say you?
I say I've never seen it.
I've never seen
Again.
it either.
Oh
so,
my God.
So that's a no.
Jeez. Like I said, we're going to be here all night, folks. But listen, if you have heard of any of these series or if you liked any of these series, let us know in the comment section because I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
The next show that I'm going to bring up has a Schmodown connection.
Really?
Yeah, really. I'm bringing up Freaks and Geeks. This is was a great comedy show. It's one that I'm actually yet to finish. I remember watching it halfway through it, then I sort of dropped off and missed a few of the episodes. Then I found out it was cancelled. Just never went back to finish watching it. But Freaks and Geeks is one of those shows that I loved watching. When you've got a whole lot of comedic actors back just starting off, because I'm pretty sure it's the first thing that Seth Rogen did. Paul Rudd, I think, got a start on. Oh no, but anyway, you had a whole bunch of great. You had a whole bunch of great comedic actors coming back. It's baffling that the show doesn't get a lot of love back then, and but it is what it is. But Richard, what do you say about Freaks and Geeks?
It's on my list, so I'm saying yes.
Ryan, what do you say about Freaks and Geeks?
I'm just going to write it down on my note sheet so I know what's going on because I've never seen this show.
It's also one of the first things Josh Apatow directed.
I think. Well, I mean, directed, yeah, but creatively, he's been involved in.
This is what he got is known for. This show.
Sure, but he was involved in other projects before that. Like, for instance, Disney's masterpiece film known as Heavyweights. He was involved with that.
Yeah.
So.
This was like also James Franco was on the show.
Yep. You had Franco. You had him. You had
it was a really good show.
Bunch. Maybe I'll watch it one day. I believe Linda Cardellini was on there too.
Yes.
So yeah, and I remember her best from ER. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, Richard, we go back to you for your next nomination.
All right.
Another one it's probably not going to make the list.
No, it better freaking make the list. First of all, I'm throwing it out there right now. Castle. Castle had such a sour ending. Like, they did a flash forward. It could have gone on for another season. They were originally going to continue on the next season without I forgot the lead actress's name, Nathan Fillion, and then decided.
Stana Katic.
Yeah, Stana Katic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they rushed the series finale episode, and it just didn't sit well for me. They could at least done another half a season to at least cleanly wrapped it up. So that's why my nomination is Castle, because Castle was such a good crime show. It was so funny. Nathan Fillion's great work.
Ryan, what do you say about Castle?
Okay, I've seen the show. I did like it when I first watched it in its first couple of seasons, or I think I watched like the first couple seasons. I can't remember exactly how many. The chemistry between the two leads was incredible. But I didn't see how I know they rushed it. I know there were creative problems and contract issues behind closed doors. I didn't see how it ended, so I can't say whether or not I would like it or not. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no.
Yeah, I watched half of season 1 of Castle, but yeah, I didn't like it. So I'm saying no as well.
It's all good.
At least we've both seen it, so that's
at least all three of us have seen it. Yeah, there we go.
But Ryan, what's your next show you're going to bring up?
What to do to make this go by faster for the 20,000 people watching at home? Jeez. Okay. Maybe this one is not as risky as some of the other ones I have on here. Excuse me. Sorry, clearing my throat here. This series, second season, was a bit of a sophomore slump, but I feel like they could have cleaned up the mess in its junior year. Should have gotten a third season. It had a somewhat of an experience, yet somewhat up-and-coming cast at the time, somewhat. But there were a lot of veterans working behind the camera on this. I thought it was really good its first season. Second season was a bit of a sour. If they had brought this back, I think it would have added a little bit more to the mythology of this franchise. I think it would have done a little bit better than Terminators 4 and 5. And I'm going to go with Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. You have Lena Headey, or Hetty, however you pronounce her name. I'm sorry, Lena. Summer Glau, once again, she's a sci-fi queen. She knows her stuff. She's been doing it for years. I forget the young actor's name who played John Connor. I apologize. I know he's really good in other things. I know he's done other projects. This series was so good its first season. It was only 9 episodes in the first. It was so good. And then second year, it's kind of like, not sure where you're going with this, not sure if this is working or not. You bring in Reese, who's very capably played by, I believe it's Brian Austin Green. Good stuff, man. Hey, 90210 veteran, what are you going to do? Good stuff there, but the series ended on a bit of a sour note. They just yanked it from the network without much of a way for it to end properly, so it was unceremoniously canceled, I think. So I'm going to put Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles on the table because for me, it fits in nicely with Terminators 1, 2, then you have Sarah Connor Chronicles Season 1, maybe bits and pieces of Season 2, and then for me anyway, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and then done. Ended, Kaputski. What do you guys say about Terminator: Sarah Connor Chronicles?
Yeah, I'm not an overly big fan of the Terminator franchise in general. I remember giving the Sarah Connor Chronicles a shot. I kind of enjoyed it, but not enough to say yes to it for this list. But Richard.
Unfortunately, I've seen the show too, but it just got to the point where like it was so inconsistent from the movies, from the original first two, and like I mean, I liked the cast. It wasn't my cup of tea, so I gotta also unfortunately say no. It's the curse of Summer. Sorry.
Jeez, man, this word is gonna hurt us to the day we die. The word no, we hate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my next show I'm going to bring up is one I actually forgot to write down. I just actually remembered it just then while I was thinking about it. It's like, because I completely forgot that this was actually cancelled. But this is a show in which we've brought up sci-fi, but we haven't delved into cinematic universes, so to speak. I'm bringing up Agent Carter. This is the spin-off show. What happened with Peggy Carter, sort of in between, in the middle of First Avenger, and sort of what happened sort of after Captain America disappeared, barely got frozen, and this was a really good show. Hayley Atwell was great, and I like the fact that they managed to find ways to bring her back, sport actually in the movies or in the animated series, because they had to reprise her role as Agent Carter in Avengers Assemble, the animated TV shows. But this was a great show, and I'm curious to see where they would have gone had it's continued, had it got a lot more love. But yeah, sadly, it just didn't work out. But if the Disney Plus execs are listening, bring it back, do some add on to it, for Disney Plus. But yeah, Richard, what do you say about Agent Carter?
First of all, I hate you, Malcolm. That was going to be my choice for the next nomination. So no, yeah, I did really like Agent Carter. It was a really good show. I am going to say yes, but I could see what the main problem would be. There's only so much you could do with the show without it, go into it. But at the same time, I still would have. I love season 2, and I still think it could have gone on for a couple more seasons. So I'm going to say yes.
Ryan, what would you have said?
I wasn't. I was curious to see where this series was going to go, and I did watch both seasons respectively because it was miles better. And I will say it for the record, miles better than what they were doing on Agents of Nowhere, Agents of Shield, or Agents of Hydra, really, because they're working for bad people. This show was definitely an experience. This was more entertaining than I ever thought it could be. And also, Lindsay Fonseca from Nikita with Maggie Q playing her, like sidekick in the second season. We love you, Lindsay. I would have loved to have seen where they would have gone with some of these characters, and they ended it on such a big cliffhanger. And then once again, the executives thought, this isn't doing very well. We're going to nix it. No, you don't do that. You don't do that to a very beautiful and talented actress like Haley freaking Atwell. Now, yes, her character was served in the MCU with her movie appearances, but still, I would have liked to have seen where they would have gone with this, how deep underground they were going to go with this character. So I'll say yes, let's do it. Let's give some Haley Atwell some credit. Let's give her some love.
Yeah.
Let's put it on the list.
Yeah, and I mean, I just wanted to point you brought up too much about the fact that it wasn't a lot they could have done. Because I mean, they could have brought in some various Captain America villains from that era in the comics, brought them in. So, but there was a lot they could have done, because especially with the fact that it was technically a superhero show, but it wasn't. Because even though it was more of a spy thriller, but I mean.
Yeah,
A lot of you could argue that Peggy is a superhero, but I mean, especially with the What If series coming next year. But but anyway, Richard, I know I stole your pick. What's your next pick?
I'm hoping this one gets nominated because I really enjoyed the hell of this show. Because this show was really good, but they just canceled it for no reason, and then we got this horrible Teen Titans Go. So I am choosing the original Teen Titans. I enjoyed the show really, really well. A lot of people so badly want the show to come back and get rid of Teen Titans Go. Like, it had such a great character points in the original show. There was so much you could have done with the show, and then they just stopped it because I guess toy sales wasn't good enough or something. And then we got Teen Titans Go, which is a joke compared to the original series. Fans have been asking for it to come back. They did do the whole Teen Titans Go, make the original Titans kind of movie-ish thing, but I still think Teen Titans deserved at least way more seasons than and Teen Titans Go should never have happened. So my nominations for Teen Titans.
Ryan, what do you say about Teen Titans?
If I remember this right, and I'm trying to remember this, was this series, like, it was on television, but then when it got canceled, didn't they ship it over to Netflix to see if it still has an audience?
Nope, that was Young Justice.
Oh, that was Young Justice. All right. I was confusing the two series. Thanks for clarification on that, Richard. Okay, well then I've only seen Young Justice. I don't think I've seen Teen Titans, so unfortunately I'm going to have to say no because I haven't seen it. I've only seen Young Justice, the 2 seasons that it got before they shipped it over to Netflix. But that's how I saw it was on Netflix, but still.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Ryan here. I've not seen the original Teen Titans. I've seen Teen Titans Go, and I actually kind of enjoy it. It's a fun show made for kids. But anyway, so sadly, the original Teen Titans doesn't make this list. But Ryan, what's your next nomination?
Oh, jeez. All right. I think a lot of these are starting to feel like swing for the fences and see what happens. Okay, this show was on for 3 seasons, and this was on the Blue Sky network we know as USA Network, where characters are certainly welcome. This show was so good, but yet they take it away from my heart and my soul. They had a great young, but they were already pretty much established at this point, some of them more established than others. But this series, and I'm talking about Graceland on USA, is inspired by true events. It's about a group of ATF, FBI, DEA, undercover agents living together in a Malibu beach house. They go on missions together. They go undercover to stop these drug cartels and these bad guys, these horrible, horrible criminals. And they do it from the shadows, and they do it well. You had Aaron Tveit, who I believe was in Les Miserables. You had Serinda Swan from my lovely show known as Smallville. We love you as Zatanna, Serinda, and I will always love you for that. And then she comes on here. She plays Paige Larkin, I think. And then you had Daniel Sunjata, who's done numerous other projects. He was on SVU. He's been on Law & Order. He was a CSI investigator. He was really good as that. You had Brandon J. McLaren, the Red SPD Power Ranger, is one of the agents on this show, who I did have the pleasure of meeting at a Comic-Con. And Brandon J. McLaren, you're a cool dude. I like it. So If you have not seen Graceland from the USA Network, I believe it's still streaming on Netflix. So stream the heck out of it, because it is a great series that ended on a very sad cliffhanger, and I think it deserves a resolution. So the executives, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this show right now, do us a favor. Bring this baby back. Do it on Netflix. You've done it with numerous other shows that you've saved from deathbeds in the past. You can do it again. Look up Graceland. I'm not talking about Graceland in that part of the world. I'm talking about the TV series that is great as Graceland. Malcolm, I know you did some Googling. What do you got to say about it?
I'm just gonna say I've not heard of this show. I don't know. I mean, more the fact, like, some of these shows, I don't know if they ever got released in New Zealand. We don't always get the shows at the same time.
New Zealand gets the short end of the stick with a lot of these series.
I mean, until recently, they've started doing Express on the same day as USA for some shows, but this was before the time. But I mean, just looking at the cast is great, and you also forgot about the other show that Surrender Swan was in, and that was Inhumans.
I never saw it. I heard it was terrible. I didn't want to bring it up. So, Serinda, I wish you the best of luck with with the next career venture. But I heard Inhumans was not the best for you.
Spoiler alert: Inhumans is not going to be brought up from me. So
no, it's not.
But Richard, what do you say about Grace?
I have seen the show, and I really liked the first season, but the second season was really bad. And the problem with this type of show was they had so many characters that they didn't know what to do with. Like, to me, when I saw the show, I thought of Suits meets Pacific Blue. And so I gotta say it's a no, just because the premise just went it was a good season, but then the show can only last 3 seasons for it to be a really out there plot for the characters could go, because they couldn't stay in that house forever. That's what I feel like what's going to happen.
But yeah, so if that Graceland doesn't make the list, I mean,
nothing will.
I mean, when Ryan brought it up, I was almost convinced it was going to be an Elvis Presley biopic series.
No, it is a crime procedural inspired by a true story.
But yeah, but we go back to my next nomination, and we've been dancing around it for a while. We've brought up a different Nathan Fillion show. I'm going to bring up the other one. I'm going to bring up the one that barely had a season. I think technically it's 2 seasons, but I think people only counted as 1. I don't quite know. But I'm bringing up Firefly. This is the show which is really great. And it's one I really love watching. When they cancelled it, I was shocked because I thought it was a good show. Back then, that was before I sort of knew that the ratings determine on whether a show lives or dies. But there are some shows which still get are still on the air, which I'm still surprised at, because I refuse to believe that they get watched as much as they do. Cough, Big Brother, cough. But or The Bachelor, both of them are in that same boat. But yeah, I bring up Firefly. Firefly is a show that deserves to make the list. But yes, they brought out the feature movie Serenity and all that to sort of close off that series. But I think this is a show which, once again, a lot of these sci-fi shows you could actually have go on a long time, because even though a series may have a perfect ending, there's always a way that you can do another season to have a new bad guy just come. But Richard, what do you say about Firefly?
Here's the thing. I've heard people talk about how Firefly should have been brought back over and over and over and over again. I've seen some episodes. I haven't seen it all 3 through. I've seen Serenity. Here's my problem with Firefly. The problem why it got canceled is because they scheduled it poorly on Fox. And there have been other shows like it that have done as well, better than Firefly, Orville is currently really popular right now. It's basically the same space travel with comedy. Farscape, Stargate, Star Trek, and I think if Fox had more faith in the show, they would have slided it differently. So I can't really reward as much as I do. I enjoy the episodes I've seen. I can't say yes for the same reason because I haven't seen it all the way through, and I wasn't as invested as everyone else seems to be.
Wayne, what do you say about Firefly?
I'll say this. I know they aim to misbehave. That line's been quoted ad nauseum at events that I've been to, or maybe a few times. Anyway, I saw Serenity. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's good stuff. I don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. A lot of people treat Firefly like it's a second coming or something. I don't know. I can't speak to that. Also, I've never seen the series, so for me, it's going to have to be a no. I've never seen Firefly. I know how big of a following it gets, and I know how many people cosplay as this character in the brown coats at Comic-Cons, but it's like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But that's because I haven't seen the series yet, so that's on me. But as far as Serenity goes, good film, good time at the office, but not the best time I've ever had at the office. Let's just put it that way. So unfortunately, for all the people who are about to scream at me and take another shot, because this is the drinking game where Ryan hasn't seen something, I haven't seen Firefly, so it's going to have to be a negative, sir.
If that Firefly doesn't make the list, I can see the comments now.
Oh, they are coming in, and they are coming in hot.
But Richard, what's the next show you're going to bring up?
I'm going to bring up the show that definitely should have kept on going. Netflix canceled all these because whatever Disney's problem happened with it. Daredevil. Marvel's Daredevil. It started like the Netflix shows. It was really freaking first season, third season, amazing. Second season, I still really enjoyed. Wasn't as good as the other three. And the fact that Disney didn't want to do the shows or whatever the Netflix, I don't know the whole deal is between the two, but it needed to kept on going. And they canceled all the other shows, but Daredevil was the best one. And the third season was so good, and it left on such a really cliffhanger that there was no point in leaving on a cliffhanger if there wasn't going to be a fourth season. So Daredevil should definitely be on this list.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones I don't really know on the fact. It's one of those ones we don't really know if it was Disney's call to cancel or Netflix's. There's talk on both sides and all that. And because there's rumors that Netflix very rarely let shows go over 3 seasons anyway. But Ryan, what do you say about Daredevil?
Did you say yes or no, Malcolm? I can't remember.
I haven't said anything about it yet. I just.
Oh man, you're gonna keep me in suspense. You're killing me, Smalls. Granted, that's a movie, not a TV reference. Sorry, folks. I know we gotta stick to protocol. Here's my thing. Out of the shows, Daredevil's my personal favorite. I agree with Richard. Daredevil is so freaking good. It's dark, it's gritty, it's everything I want in a TV series for a comic book character, and then some. Hello, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin? My goodness gracious, that guy nailed that role, and he nailed it to a T. I haven't seen seasons 3, and I haven't seen some of the other stuff that's been going on with these series, so unfortunately, without all the information that I should have, because I love Daredevil, and Charlie Cox, great job as Matt Murdock as Daredevil boy. I will support you 100% down the line. I have to say no, because I haven't seen all of it yet, so I can't comment or speculate whether it ended for me well or not. I don't know. I haven't seen season 3. I've only seen seasons 1 and 2 in Defenders.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't seen season 3 yet, so for me, I've still got to finish watching it. But based on what I have seen of it, I'm going to say yes.
That's fair.
Daredevil was a great show, and that first scene was just
so good.
Was so good.
So good.
But yeah, I mean it's and I think it's one of those ones. If Disney got rid of this because of Disney Plus and all that, which is fair with everything they're right, it just means they've got plans for those characters. That's what I want. That's what I want to believe, and I'm just going to keep on believing it until I get proved wrong.
Which might not be too far from now, but we'll see.
But Richard, what's wait. No, what?
I chose Daredevil.
Yeah, I
was like, which way are you going here?
Why? So you can...
I mean, if you want to bench me, you can bench me. I've put up some poor choices. I mean, Richard's doing better than me, so yeah.
I only know we're tied. I've only gotten one nomination up. No,
I know, right? So, not that anyone's keeping score, Richard. It's okay. We still love you, man.
I'm just happy.
Let's see. What can I bring out of retirement here? What can I do here to make this list a little extra spicy? I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, you know what? All right, you know what? Another swing for the fences moment. I don't know. I don't care. It's probably not going to make it anyway because Malcolm's probably never even heard of this, but who cares? We'll find out. This was a series that was on a network that used to exist and then dissipated and then combined to create the CW. This was on the UPN television network. It was an underdog, under the radar series, but it had a really good original premise. Had a really young up and coming cast and a young star by the name of Christopher freaking Gorham. And he later on voiced the Flash in Justice League War, for those of you who are DC fans. And I'm talking about Jake 2.0. This is about a guy who works for the government. He's what does he work in? Tech support. He works in tech support at I think it's the Department of Defense, or no, CIA. And he goes into a lab one day to fix some guy's computer. Little does he know, there's an experiment that's going on, but it's not fully developed. He gets these nanites injected into his body after an incident that goes wrong. And he suddenly has these enhanced abilities. He has enhanced strength. He has enhanced sight. It's like there's like a computer in his brain that allows him to like see further, further in, allows him to bring up information about certain government projects or other operatives that are in the field, or catch bad guys that have like high profile type stuff. It's really, really good. I think it had a good cast, especially led by Christopher Gorham, who nobody knew who this kid was. He comes onto the scene, does a really good job. Only lasted one season, but it was so good, and yet they just ripped it away again, not unfairly. But later on, Christopher Gorham did go on to star in other projects, so he landed on his feet. Some of the other members of the cast, maybe not so much. But I feel Jake 2.0 is one of the best, most underrated shows that was ever on TV, even though it only lasted one season. But it was still really good. Had some good. It was like a spy show meets techno geek show. It had a lot of elements mixed into it, and you put it in a blender, and it just delivers things in a nice, pretty bow. At least for me, anyway. So Jake 2.0, do your Googling, do some searching on it right now. It's so good. Look it up. Malcolm, Richard, what say you at the desk?
When you brought it up, I actually thought it was a completely different show premise, so I had to look it up to make sure it was the one I was thinking of, which it wasn't. But the one that I initially was thinking about might come up because it. But yeah, I've never seen Jake 2.0. I've heard of it, but just never got around to it. But Richard, what do you say?
Is that the dude from COVID Affairs?
Yep.
Same
guy.
I've never heard of it, and I was a huge fan of UPN back in the day, so that has to be a no. I mean, I can't really say if it was good or not. I haven't seen it.
Okay, feel free to look it up. I'm sure there's a few episodes out there somewhere. There's your homework, Malcolm. Write it down. Watch a few episodes of this show.
But yeah,
like I said, it was a swing for the fences. What are you gonna do?
I mean, it's one of those ones. With this kind of list, it's going to be a swing for the fences type of show.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, the next show I'm going to bring up, because now I've got two, which I just remembered that I'm going to bring up. I'm going to bring up the one I was referencing. I'm going to bring up Kyle XY. This is a.
Oh my god.
This show was just really interesting, and the season finale of season 3, it left in so many cliffhangers that
God.
It's just, I mean, well, yes, apparently they put a special feature on the season 3 DVD, which explains how everything is wrapped up, but I haven't seen that, and it doesn't really count for the show because it wasn't aired on TV. But that part of was anyway. But it was just, but yeah, Kyle XY was a great show.
Oh my gosh!
But this is Kyle's just trying to solve the puzzles of who he is and why he's no memory sort of before that day, and it was a great show. I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't spoil it because I want you all to go out and watch it if you've never heard of it. But yeah, Richard, what do you say about Kyle
Malcolm,
X
I
Ray?
literally wrote that down right before you said it.
Oh my gosh.
Dang it. Yes, I
Woo!
absolutely love the show. This is, believe it or not, Corey Monteith's one of his first roles, like, besides
Wow,
Glee. He
really?
was in the show, and, like, RIP to him. Like, it was he had a minor role in that, but it was a good show. I was really bummed when they canceled the show. And I was also the girl who played Lady Sith. That was when she got introduced in
Jamie
season 2.
Alexander.
Yeah, and so yeah, I definitely think it should be on the list. It was a good show, and it was on Fox Family, I believe, and it was just
Yes,
poor
ABC
ratings. So
Family. Yeah.
unfortunately, it was just poor ratings, and I really wish it had continued. So yes, that's a yes for me.
Yeah. And Ryan, your mind literally blowed when I brought it up. What did you
Oh
say?
my gosh, dude. I didn't even have that on my list. How could I forget that wonderful series? I have the season 3 Diva set on my ridiculously good-looking shelf right over here in my office / man cave. Oh my gosh. This show was so good and so well acted. You had a young cast. You had a beautiful Jamie Alexander long before anybody knew her as Lady Sif, or in this case, Jane Doe, Blind Spot from NBC. My gosh, I had a huge, and I still do to this day. I'm not afraid to say it. Jamie Alexander, I still have a crush on you. You're beautiful. You're smart. You got a great career ahead of you. Cannot wait to see what you do next. Oh my gosh. Such a great series. It's a heck yes from me. This series should have gone on for eons upon eons upon eons because of how good, weird, quirky, sci-fi, yet very human, discovering your identity self. It was Born Identity with a sci-fi twist, and I loved that. I loved that. ABC Family had 2 shows, and I won't talk about the other one because it may come up later, but this is certainly one of them that should have been served more and promoted more and should have gotten more attention at Comic Cons across the globe. Heck yes, people. Kyle XY, 1000% brother, makes the list.
Richard, what was the next show you're going to bring up?
See, I was trying to think of
man.
some shows that, like, I really enjoyed. The show I'm choosing, I really enjoyed it. It was on Fox. It got really good. The ratings after every season kept on dipping a little bit, so they had a half a season that it didn't do the show justice. I'm choosing Fringe. Joshua Jackson, I love Fringe. It was a great show. It dealt with, multiple realities, kind of like Sliders did, kind of like, the other shows, and it got a really crappy last season. I didn't like how it ended. It needed at least 1 or 2 more seasons. Did Ryan leave?
I don't. I think he just turned off his camera.
Okay, so I'm choosing Fringe. I think it deserved a few more seasons, so we could have had at least a better finale than what we got.
But yeah, Ryan's probably stepped away from his computer for a bit, but I'll go next on this. Fringe is a show which I don't like. I really didn't enjoy it. I know it had John Noble in it, and a bunch of other well-known peoples. But this is a show that just didn't connect to me. It just felt like it was a X-Files type show that just tried to be something else and just didn't work for me. But Ryan, what do you say about Fringe?
Yeah, I was a fan of the series from the beginning. I liked where they were going with it. I thought it was, granted, did it borrow a lot of stuff from X-Files? Heck yeah, it did. It was like the next generation of X-Files, and that's fine because I think every generation to a certain extent needs an X-Files show like that. For me, I thought it was good, and it could have been great, but I just felt like some of the creative decisions they made in the later seasons just really hurt it more than it helped. So for me, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no. And plus, I didn't even bother watching the last season because to me, it just kind of fell off the rails towards the end of season 3 or 4. It was like, why are you going this route? Like, you don't need to go this far out. You could have kept it a little bit closer to the vest. You could have kept it a little bit more like Earth 1 or whatever. Didn't they go to like multiple dimensions? I don't know. It just got really
Mhm.
confusing and a bit convoluted for me. So I'm kind of, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no. And I know Fringe has its fair share of fans in there. And John Noble, I met him once at a
Mhm.
con. Nice dude. I wish everyone in that show the best of luck because they had a good cast, but just didn't really land. It didn't stick the landing for me as some other series have.
Okay.
But Ryan, what is the next show you're going to bring up?
There's so much sci-fi. We can't help it, folks. You know what? Yeah, okay. This is gonna be another swing for the fences. All right, so this show was on for 2 years, and it was on CBS at the time. It dealt with a lot of personal themes. It dealt with where do you stand on your belief, where do you stand on your faith, and that sort of thing. And I thought they handled it very, very well, and it had a great leading cast. But the lead character actress, Amber Tamblyn, never heard of her before this. She came in and she rocked it as Joan Girardi, and I'm talking about CBS's Joan of Arcadia. This is about a girl who's struggling with, being a teenager. She's 16. Her family moves to this new place, Arcadia, Maryland, a fictional town, Arcadia, Maryland, and she's just going to high school, trying to get through the motions. Her family's been through a tragedy, but they're trying to overcome it, trying to move on with their lives, and it's hard. And Joan meets this new boy at school, but later on we find out that this boy is actually God himself, and he says, I've come to you, I have a little bit of assignments for you here and there, but they're going to teach you something in the end. You're not going to know what it is, and you're going to have you're going to be questioning me, but you shouldn't. Just do it, go along with this, see where it goes, and it goes from there. This is a great coming together family show that, whether you believe in it or not, it handles it with respect. It handles it with great care. It had incredible writers. It had incredible directors. It had incredible showrunner. And I believe in my heart of hearts that, Amber Tamblyn, she did go on to other things after this. You had Joe Mantegna. You had Mary Steenburgen. You had Jason Ritter, who would later go on to star in Parenthood. You had so many great actors and actresses in the show. It's insane how awesome this talent was. Christopher Marquette, who later on went on and star in movies such as The Girl Next Door and a couple of other raunchy comedies. He's done some good stuff too. But Amber Tamblyn was the heart and soul of this show. She held this show together at her young age so well. It's almost unheard of. It's very hard for young actors to do this. It's very hard, but she did it with grace. She did it with elegance. So Joan of Arcadia from CBS. It's a faith-based show. It's a family show, but you really rally behind this family. You believe in what they're doing. You believe in what Joan is doing. She's trying to help others while also learning about herself. And that's a beautiful thing to see on screen. So I'm going to put Joan of Arcadia, on the table.
Joan of Arcadia is on the table. This is a show I really loved. This is one I didn't think I would have loved because of the fact that it was a faith-based show, so to speak. But I remember watching the show and thought it was a great premise. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, the theme song was just the "What of God was one of us" song.
Yes.
And it's just one of those shows in which it was really good. And we've got a lot of sci-fi on here, so it's good to have something different. So I'm going to say yes to Joan of Arcadia. Yeah. Richard, what do you say about Joan of Arcadia?
I've never seen it, so.
Oh,
cool.
So good. It's so good, man. Really, really great show. It ended on a big cliffhanger, too. It's like, oh, man, I want to see what happens next. But unfortunately, it got canceled at that point. So, once again, CBS, you made a bad decision.
But yeah, it goes back to me. For this show, the next show I'm going to bring up, Ryan brought up Mary Steenburgen just before, and there's another show that she has been in which was recently cancelled last year. Just double check that she actually wasn't it. Otherwise, yep, she was definitely in that. But I'm going to bring up the Wolf Forte TV show Last Man on Earth. with the cast of it had a great cast. You had Wolf Forte playing Philip Tandy, who initially was the last man on Earth. Then you got Christian Schau, how you pronounce her name, as Cal, who comes in. Then you got January Jones, you got Mary Steenburgen, and then you had a lot of great supporting cast like Jason Sudeikis popped up at some stage, Will Ferrell, Kenneth Troy, Kristen Rigg, Fred Armisen, Alexander Daddario was in there guest starring in the episode. Only as a guest star, but she appeared.
But even so, that's good stuff.
But Last Man on Earth was a great show, and it ended on a cliffhanger in which I'm really curious to see where they would have gone had it got for another season. But sadly, it's not to be. But it was a great comedy show. Something a little bit different to what we've got on here. But Richard, what do you say about The Last Man on Earth?
I could never get into it. Like, that was my thing. I can understand why people liked it. It wasn't for me. Like, it got stale for me. So, I mean, I would have to say no, but then again, it's not just me, so.
Ryan, what do you say about Last Man on Earth? I get the feeling you've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer for it. Does that count? No, it doesn't. That doesn't count for squat on this show. Like we said, you're going to hear this word a lot tonight, folks. I have not seen this show. I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, looks all right, but not something that's going to get me out of bed in the morning and say, you got to watch this today. So for me, I'm going to have to say no/abstain, Your Honor. Let's move on to the next candidate.
But Richard, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Ooh, this might be a shot in the dark, but I was going to give this a shot anyway because I loved the books when I was a kid.
Oh.
And when they had this show, it only lasted 2 seasons on Nickelodeon. It just, like, I love the cast that they had for it. It just, I guess, not enough interest for it. I'm choosing Animorphs. I loved the books when I was a kid, and I thought they were doing really good by the books, and I wish it would have kept on going. It just, not enough interest, I guess, and so my nomination is Animorphs.
Ryan, what do you say about Animorphs?
How could I have not had this one on there? This is so bad. I love some of these shows that are being brought up, and even I don't have them on my list. It's so sad, folks. But anyway, to the business at hand. Animorphs, killer theme song, great cast, as Richard so eloquently pointed out. Sean Ashmore, what's up, son? Oh, gosh, what was that girl that was on another series? Brooke Nevin. I still like you, girl. Brooke Nevin. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk later. This was so good. This made Nickelodeon a better network. This made the network stronger. This made the network bigger. It made it faster. It made it everything. This turned Nickelodeon from a really good network into the Incredible Hulk of a network because of this show. Snick, which you remember, kids, Saturday Night Nickelodeon, Snick, sitting on my orange couch, watching this at home. I remember when this premiered, I was sitting on not my orange couch, but I was sitting on some good home furniture and watching the heck out of this and being like, I want to be these guys. I want to hang out with these guys. These are my peeps, man. This is such a great show. So many great themes about teamwork, about discovering yourself, what kind of abilities you have, whether you can turn into an animal or not, and just go. It's a coming of age. In a way, it's a coming of age story that was so underserved on Nickelodeon. Man, if they ever bring this back, I've spoken to Sean about this. Sean said that he is happy to come back. I think he can convince the rest of his fellow castmates to come back, especially Brooke Nevin. We miss you, among others, of course. I'm not going to leave anyone else out, but she's one of the ones from Rima. So I'm going to have to say, heck yes, add this to the list, because if you don't, there are 90s kids such as myself out there. They're going to be saying, how dare you not put this on the list, people. Animorphs, you're in. We love you.
Team Tobias.
There you go. That's a good team too. I like him too. They're all great characters.
Yeah,
great books too.
This is another one that I didn't write down myself, and which hurts me because I love this show.
Yes.
I honestly thought it was a shot in the dark because I thought you guys may have been too young for it.
Oh no, dude! I was prime for this show.
I mean, I read the books after seeing the series. the series brought me into the books, not the other way
Oh my
around.
god, that's awesome!
Yeah.
That's so good.
But yeah, this is a show that I don't know if they've ever released it on DVD or anything, but this is a show that if they ever release it on DVD, or even if they haven't, they should. I would buy it in a heartbeat. Because
We can talk off camera. I know a guy.
yeah, but
I do. Seriously, I do.
I believe you. But but yeah, this is a show which but with the way this book series goes, it was just kind of ongoing
So good.
arc, and the way it ended was a slight of a cliffhanger. But it's probably one of those things. There wasn't may probably not been a lot of interest for this series, which is sad. But Animorphs was going to make the list. It's making the list anyway, but it's going to be hell yeah.
Yeah.
But Ryan, we go back to you.
Dude, I don't know if I can top that. That is a great throwback, Richard. That is just, oh boy. Woo.
Also, there was a rumor that we're looking at doing a movie of this, but nothing. I'm just reading on Wikipedia. Apparently, there's been talks of a movie since 2015, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. But
we'll see. I mean, I hope they bring it back in some capacity. We can discuss more about that later. The next candidate, we brought this actor's name up earlier. Let's just get it out of the way now. Let's see where it lands. Once again, it was on the Blue Sky Network known as USA, where characters are most certainly welcome. I thought it was a really good show. It had some heart, had some funniness, it had adventure, it had action. It had established actors coming in and just taking this to level 11. You remember her from Coyote Ugly, and then she did the Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle live-action CGI animation hybrid film. Piper Perabo on USA Network's Covert Affairs. Beautiful woman, talented actress, killed it in this role. She plays a girl next door. She joins the CIA. She becomes the next level spy. She goes on missions, but she has a team by her side who, one of her teammates just happens to be Jake 2.0 himself, Christopher Gorham as Augie Anderson. Christopher Gorham, we love you, buddy. Really good show. You also had one of the actors from Heroes was in there for a couple of seasons. I forget his name. Sendel something. I forget. And then you had Peter Gallagher as one of the leaders of the series. You had other supporting cast members come in there. You had Oded Fair from the Mummy franchise with Brendan Fraser as a Mossad agent working with her. Piper Perabo's character. I forget the lead character's name, and I apologize for this. I'm sorry, Piper. I love you. This show was only on for a couple of seasons. I think it could have gone on definitely for a couple more years. I think it ended too soon. I can't remember if it ended on a cliffhanger per se, but I can say that it should have gone on for a couple more years because you could. There's a couple of different ways you could have swung for the fences here with this series, as well as the characters involved. And Piper Perabo, she's incredible. She's incredible. You would never think in a million years that somebody on Coyote Ugly, which was one of her first gigs she ever did. And by the way, her co-stars in that movie were great too. Coyote Ugly, guilty pleasure of mine. Call it what you will. Good movie, fun movie, whatever. She's good in this. Covert Affairs, USA, characters welcome, blue skies, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. I love it all. Gentlemen, what say you about Covert Affairs from USA?
Never heard of it.
That's sad, Malcolm. That's sad.
Richard, what do you say about Covert Affairs?
I've seen the show. I like the show. It had 5 seasons. That's normally what USA does. White Collar, which was another good show, had 6 seasons. Mm-hmm. And Covert Affairs did end. Like, it did have a good ending. It wasn't like a cliffhanger. It actually had a series finale. So, unfortunately, for that reason alone, I'm going to say no. Just because it did end. Like, it had a good run, 5 seasons. Where it didn't leave on a cliffhanger like, for example, Angel did, which didn't get picked. Super fun, but again, I really love Covert Affairs, and I just think I think at the same time they were like towards the last few seasons they were just they're running out of ideas kind of deal. Because there's been like shows like that in the USA before, like Burn Notice too.
Yeah, that had a good ending though.
Yeah. So that's my reason. I think it ended. The show was good. It had a good ending.
That's okay. I couldn't remember if it ended on a cliffhanger or not because it's been a hot minute since I've seen it, so I apologize. But that's the way the world works for folks.
but yeah, if we go back to me, and I'm bringing up a show which I completely forgot about until Richard earlier mentioned one of the franchises when talking about Fringe. I'm bringing up Stargate Universe. I really love the Stargate series. All up, like SG-1, Atlantis. I mean, both of those finished perfectly, but Stargate Universe is one that once again is another spin-off which came from Atlantis, and it's it's one of those ones in which the way it ended, I kind of wish we got more seasons of this because it was only 2 seasons,
Wow.
and it's just one of those ones in which, based on the name of Stargate itself, I thought, oh yeah, there's no way this will fail. But this one was finished. The cast was really good because you had Robert Carlyle in this, and I think he might have been the only known actor in this.
No, wasn't Lou Diamond Phillips or Maggie Q or Grace Park in
No.
that too?
Was this the season that had the dude from Once Upon a Time, the Rumpelstiltskin?
Robert
Well, that's
Carlyle,
Robert
yeah.
Carlyle, but wasn't Jason Momoa on this series?
No, that was Atlantis.
Oh, he was on Atlantis. Okay. All right. Didn't want to get them too confused.
Go back to Age of the Shield. It had May on
Yeah,
this
that's
net.
who I was trying to think of. Ming Na Wen. Yep.
Yeah,
She was on SGU.
but yeah, SGU was one of those shows which I did love. I mean, I've loved all the Stargate shows, but this is one I think could have gone on for at least one more series to maybe wrap it up if they wanted to finish it. But yeah, I haven't seen this in a while. I just remember. I mean, when it comes to TV shows, I'm really bad about talking about them because some I really haven't seen in a while and just hadn't had time to go back to watch. And some I just remember off my head. This is just one of those ones which I know I love. But yeah, Richard, what do you say about SGU?
I haven't seen all the episodes, but I have seen the majority of the episodes Stargate Universe, and I remember the last episode where I'm not going to spoil in case no one else seen it, and I enjoyed it. And you know what? I'm going to say yes to this one because I felt like it did deserve at least one more season because that cliffhanger was just messed up. So I'm going to say yes.
And Warren, what would you have said?
I mean, for me personally, I haven't seen any of the Stargate universe shows, so I would have said no because I haven't seen the originals. I haven't seen Stargate Atlantis, even though I really want to watch that because I'm fascinated by the mythology of Atlantis. Oh, I love the mythology of that. And Stargate Universe had an all-star cast for me, so one of these days I'm going to have to sit down in my comfy chair and just binge watch the heck out of Atlantis and especially SGU because to me, those two are the most intriguing out of the three because I think those are the three, right? There was Stargate 1 and then there was, So out of the series that I know of, Atlantis and SGU are the ones I want to watch. Plus, you have really good cast behind all of them anyway, so I would have said no. Sorry, guys. Haven't seen any of them yet. It's on my list, though.
Well, I mean, I shocked everyone by not saying I'm not. For everyone else by saying he'd not seen the Stargate episode, but Richard, what's the next show you can bring up? We've got 3 spots left.
Okay, this show I doubt it's going to get on here, but it was a show that I really loved as a kid. It didn't finish, and the whole point of the show, the fact that it didn't finish, I was really bummed. It's another show on Nickelodeon. It's called 100 Deeds for A.D. McDowd. It has Seth Green voiced a dog. The premise was it was a bully kid who was always picking on this one particular child. So this dude turns him to a dog and says you can only revert back to a human unless you do 100 good deeds. And it was an entertaining show. Brenda Song was in it. She was like a co-star. And the fact that they didn't get to 100 deeds is one of the reasons why I was like, why didn't you finish the show? You only got to they got to a couple seasons. So they could have gone on to at least they could at least wrapped it up for some way, and they never did. I seriously doubt the show's going to get picked. I just wanted to throw it out there because it was a show as a kid that I wish would have finished.
They got to 40 deeds.
Yeah.
Ryan, what do you say about 100 deeds of Eddie McDowell?
That means they still have 60 more to go, which they're never going to get to. I have never, in my wildest dreams, and I've been on this green earth of ours for a lot of decades, a couple decades so far. Let's not overextend.
They also had a really good theme song. Let me just tell you real quick. Once upon a time, I was a kid, and now I'm paying for all the things that I did. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah. I've never in my wildest dreams ever heard of this show. And I mean never ever. And I've been in the Nickelodeon vault for a long time and I've never seen that, much less heard of it. So for me, respectively, it's going to have to be a no.
I figured as much.
Never heard of it.
I've heard of the show. I've seen the show.
Oh my gosh!
I don't like this show.
Oh,
I've seen it, but I don't like it.
It's fair. It's not for everyone.
I mean, the first season was fine. For me, it just continually declined over the last few seasons. But as I was doing some googling on this, I completely forgot Alison Hannigan from How I Met Your Mother had a brief role in this. She voiced Gigi. Danny Tamborelli played Spike.
Oh my god!
If you hate this choice, you're probably gonna hate my next one. Just wait till you come back to me.
Oh boy.
But yeah, Ryan, what's the next show you're gonna bring up?
All right, I'm going to try to put on my sales pitch hat here for a minute because I sold you on one or two of these shows, so let's see if I can do it again. Once again, only lasted a season. This was on ABC Network, to be more specific. This centered on a group of civilian people who helped find lost ones, those whose bodies were never found, or they tried to find out if they're missing. If they're still missing, they try to find them and reunite them with their families. Or if they discover their bodies, they try to make sure that they identify those bodies to make sure that their loved ones know where they were when they died, and that their families get closure. And it's called The Forgotten. It was on ABC. It was only on for like a season. It starred Christian Slater, 80s heartthrob. He was replaced, actually. He wasn't originally supposed to play the lead in this show, but they replaced the actor after shooting the first pilot. They reshot it again, put in Christian Slater. He did a much better job. Later on, Alicia Cuthbert from 24, as well as other movies and TV appearances that she's done. She plays one of the members of the group who helps reunite. They find these bodies. They help find missing persons. They reunite them with their loved ones. Whether it's getting closure for the families who lost someone dear to them, or if that person is missing, they try to reunite them with their families. They work with the police. They're basically a neighborhood watch group, but they take it to a little bit of the next level. They try, even though they're civilians, they try to go above and beyond what they're allowed to do because they believe in their cause so much that they want to reunite people with their loved ones, or at least get closure for people's families. And that's something that's never talked about on that's not talked about a lot of procedural dramas. And I feel this show could have done so much and brought so much more attention to stuff like that. They put an ad at the end of every show, hey, if you know somebody who's missing somebody, look at, put them in the missing persons database so they know that they're out there, or we can try to find them and reunite them with you, stuff like that. This is a really deep emotional show. And Christian Slater, and you also had Alicia Cuthbert. I think you had Michelle Borth, who was on The Last Ship, as well as a few other shows I think she was in. She was in this. She did a really good job. So I want to put this on the table and say that if you have never seen this show, do yourself a favor and look it up online or some streaming service, because it is a really good procedural with a lot of heart, and it has a message to it, because the lead character, his daughter went missing and she was never found. So he's doing this for personal reasons, not just because he wants to help those who are struggling, but he's trying to find his own daughter. So some people can relate to this in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to put The Forgotten from ABC, starring Christian Slater, Alicia Cuthbert, Michelle Borth, and a host of other good character actors on the table. What say you guys for The Forgotten on ABC?
Well, one thing I'll say about this show is it was rated R16 in New Zealand for graphic violence and sex scenes.
That's extreme, but okay.
But but yeah, which meant that this show was on late at night, and I've just forgotten all about it. To be honest, it was just
No pun intended.
it was just a nothing show, so it's a no. Richard,
Unfortunately, I forgot about the show too. It's a problem with ABC. They're not really good with their shows because they don't really publicize their shows too much. And for me, like, it wasn't my thing, so I also gotta say no, just because I don't think I've ever seen like it all the way through. I saw a few episodes. It's like it just wasn't my cup of tea at the time.
come on, Inhumans was publicized so well.
And yet that failed miserably. You know, the thing about ABC here, Malcolm, is that they love to promote their trashy reality shows known as Bachelor, Bachelorette, and whatever else they got going on. Dancing with the Stars, who cares? But they don't promote the good stuff. And that's a problem with networks these days. They don't promote the good stuff. They only promote the reality shows.
Like, there's
it's
only
terrible.
I think there's only 2 shows on ABC I actually watch right now: The Rookie and Agents of Shield.
Okay.
And even Agents of Shield is coming to an end next year.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of what I expected, because I mean, with the way the show started,
Pretty bad.
with the no, well, I mean, it's a good. I enjoyed the show from the get go. It's more of the case of with the MCU changing with Endgame, the way the show is, it's not going to fit into the cinematic universe much anymore. Anyway, but yeah, I'm going to stay on the Nickelodeon trip, because Richard bringing up Nickelodeon made me remember a show which I loved watching as a kid, and I wish that it got more seasons. I'm bringing up Kenan and Kel. The Kenan and Kel was such a great show, and it's one that I wish went on forever. I mean, I know that at the time when it finished, I think that was about the time Kenan started doing the transition to the to other stuff. I think that's about the time when I think actually, it's a little bit early for that, but Keenan's gone on to do more stuff with being on Saturday Night Live now. He's got his own show coming out, just called Keenan. And Cal's kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. I know he's done some. I know he's part of the reason which is why all that came back. But yeah, Keenan and Kel is such a great show, and this is just one that I think deserves to be on this list. And it's one that, if they ever did a reunions movie in that, then do it, because I remember the show being loved a lot. But yeah, Richard, what do you say about Kenan and Kel?
I loved Kenan and Kel. I was trying to remember because they had a feud. They weren't talking for like the longest time, and I was wondering if that happened during Kenan and Kel is why the show ended. I'm not sure I'm not positive why the show ended. Like, also, it's 4 seasons, and Nickelodeon tends to not do more than 4 seasons. But you know what? I do love the show. I kind of wish it would have kept on going. It was fresh every episode. I'm saying yes.
Ryan, what do you say about Kenan and Kel?
Well, once again, this is a show I grew up with as well, and I enjoyed the heck out of it when I was a kid. However, when I sit back and I rewatch these shows and episodes, some shows age gracefully than others, and this one does not age very well at all. It is not that funny at all. It's really annoying. It's not as good as I once remembered it. Some things are better left in the past, more so than catching up with it in the present. It does not do it for me. So I would have said no. As much as I enjoyed it when I was a kid, just overall, I don't think it's half as good as some of the other Nickelodeon shows that were on during that period of time. And this isn't one of them. I mean, who loves orange soda? We get it. And I met Kel Mitchell at a convention. Really nice guy. Cool dude to be around. You could talk to him for hours on end about anything you want. But it just, no. Kenan and Kel does not do it for me at all. So it would have been a heck no for me.
Well, I love King Phil. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. I do. I do. I do.
I can't believe it made the list. I'm a little sad now.
All right.
Richard, it's back to you for your next nomination.
We only have 2 spots left,
Yep.
so
I'm going Batman Beyond. This was an animated show that was amazing. It brought back Kevin Conroy's Batman. It only lasted 3 seasons. It could have kept on going. I loved all 3 seasons. I really don't know why it didn't kept on going. Maybe it's just me, but I felt like Batman Beyond could have gone on for a few more seasons, and they could have brought that legacy up even more. Especially when it comes to Crisis on Infinite Earths, they could have done something with Batman Beyond. That would have been cool. So my next nomination is for Batman Beyond. There's so much they could have done and didn't.
Ryan, as I know you like DC, what do you say about Batman Beyond?
It's not much of a secret on these interwebs these days that Ryan is a DC fan. What up, DC? Even though I'm wearing a other branded shirt, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Look, I met Conroy. I met Friedel. They're wonderful people. They killed it on Batman Beyond. I got season 1 on DVD here. I got Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, which is one of the best Batman films ever made in history, at least in my opinion. I can't speak for everybody in the room, but I watched the first season to catch up on the show because I didn't really watch it much when it was originally on, so I'm trying to catch up on things. After the first season, it just kind of like something about it just doesn't ring true for me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to sit down and watch seasons 2 and 3 because after season 1, I'm kind of like, okay, really good stuff in the early parts, but then as it slowly but surely went along, I kind of got, all right, some of this stuff works, some of it doesn't. I kind of prefer the original series to I don't know. It's a bit of a mixed bag, and this is coming from I love Batman. I will always love Batman. And I think Batman Beyond was a good show, and it could have really gone to bigger and better things. If we ever get a live action adaptation with Michael Keaton, that would be nice. But probably not going to happen. Wishful thinking. As much as it pains me to say this, coming from a big Batman fan, respectfully, I'm going to have to say no. I just don't feel like it's as good as some of the other shows that are potentially could make this list. So, respectfully, I'm going to have to say no. Sorry, Richard.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman Beyond is a show that I did watch when it was on. I thought it was fine. When it ended, I just didn't want. It's like for me, it was like it ended. It's like, it ended perfectly. I mean, the Batman shows are ones that I find that the way those animated shows were structured, it's usually like 1 or 2 episodes is based around villain of the week kind of thing, like what Flash and Supergirl have done at various times. So I'm going to say no to Batman Beyond as well. But yeah, Ryan, we go back to you for your next nomination.
I know. I'm curious what the live chat is saying about Batman Beyond right now. I'm curious what the live chat is saying, period. I can't see it.
It's actually not saying anything.
Oh, it's not saying it. They're very quiet tonight. They're very busy watching those little things called football games. Okay, fine. American football, sorry. Not to be confused with other sports. Gee willikers. All right, let's see what we can dig up here because we're kind of starting to get to the bottom of the barrels here. Not that Batman Beyond is bottom of the barrel. I'm just saying we're getting there. Gee willikers. You know what? All right, let's go back to the world of sci-fi. Excuse me. This was on the CW. It's only on for a year. It's a remake of a British series. Starred Green Arrow's little cousin, known as Robbie Amell. You had gosh, I can't remember her name. Peyton List, who's a Maryland native, by the way. Peyton List, we love you, girl. And you also had another gentleman who later went on to star in Blind Spot with Lady Sif herself, Jamie Alexander. I forget the person's name. And you also had, what's her name? Alexa Vega appeared on this series. And this is a remake of a British series. And this is called The Tomorrow People. The Tomorrow People. The remake that they did, I think it was shot in Canada. It was, because pretty much every show from CW is filmed in Vancouver. What are you going to do? Sue them. So The Tomorrow People, I thought it was a really good show. It was a new generation of X-Men. People with different abilities coming together. Some are good, some are bad, and they try to fight the underground cells. I thought it had some good stuff in it. Did it have familiar elements from X-Men? Yeah, sure. But every generation needs an X-Men, right? Every generation needs one. And I thought the CW did a really good job with it. It only lasted one season, ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. So that ticks me off to no end. It had a really good young cast. Some of them, one or two of the actors were somewhat established. A lot of them were up and coming, and I love that. I love it when new actors come into this world and they get established on a series. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's good stuff. I like it. It's good for your resume. Pat it down. The Tomorrow People, Peyton List, Robbie Amell, good stuff. Really good stuff. Some good twists in there. You had some good guest stars. You had a good supporting cast around it. I forget who the main bad guy was. I forget. I think he was on Arrow. I can't remember who it was. But either way, good stuff. It had a lot of good X-Men ingredients. It made me feel like a true X-Men fan again to a certain degree, even though it's separate from that. But still, I digress. The Tomorrow People, the CW, what say you in the boardroom?
But yeah, this I'm not surprised about the connections to the Arrowverse in this show because it was produced by Greg Berlanti.
Oh, there you go.
But then again, what show on the CW really isn't these
Yeah.
days? And also, as far as I know, the only show that's on the CW that's not filmed in Canada is Black Lightning. That's filmed in Atlanta.
There you go.
But that being said, this is a show I really wanted to get into. I gave it a shot. I wasn't a big fan of it. But yeah, I just thought it was fine. Like the cast and that it was just great, and there wasn't really anything wrong with the cast. But yeah, Richard, what do you say?
Here's the problem. I was a huge fan of the original show, because it was on Nickelodeon here in California when I was a kid.
Okay.
And the show was amazing. And I was excited for this when it came to CW, and it wasn't as good as the original. So it's also a no for me too. I love Robbie Amell, but I love the original show better.
I get it.
And I think the guy you figured out that played the villain was Mark Pellegrino. He played Jacob in Lost.
Yeah, and he was also Satan in Supernatural or the Devil. Yeah, good actor too. Good actor.
But yeah, it's back to me for my next nomination. There's still 2 spots left.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a really big swing because because I know that a few shows have been said no to because people thought they ended perfectly and all that. So, and I know this one did end perfectly despite on what some people like to say. But I'm bringing up a show that is going to put a lot of strain on Ryan, and because he's going to be in conflict with this, I know. I'm bringing up Smallville. This is a great show, and well, yes, it has ended. It ended on a somewhat perfect note. I would have loved to see the season 11 comic books actually made into a series for it to end that way, but I mean, they gave his Superman a perfect ending in Crisis by having him just
Is he frozen? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Did I cut out for you guys?
Yeah, you did. You cut out for a few seconds, but you're back now. Or maybe he cut out again. Keeps cutting out,
Right,
man. Come on.
It's all good.
All right, I can hear
but
you. But
yeah. I don't know what happened there. Everything just suddenly went black. But anyway, Smallville, I think it did end perfectly, even though I would have loved to see season 11 made as a comic, as an actual series, and not just was resorted to comic book. But that said, and he got a perfect ending in Crisis, so to speak, from giving up his powers just to become a family man and all that. I know there's people that are not happy about that. It was a decision that made sense, and based on how far along past the series they established it and all that. But I'm not going to be upset if this one doesn't make it in because it's a technically show that did end perfectly. But Richard, what do you say about Smallville?
I love Smallville. The problem is, I feel like this is one of the few shows that kept on going that probably could have ended 2 seasons earlier. Because there was at some point where like there was just like the episodes like became like here's a superhero you've seen, here's Aquaman, here's Flash, here's all these superheroes from comics you guys love so much. I love the show. It was super cheesy now. It still was super cheesy. I just feel like it kept it. I think it should have gone on maybe 8 seasons, not 10. Because I wasn't a fan of the series finale. I thought like the fact that they couldn't show his full Superman costume because of the DC where they're having problems, so they couldn't show the actual costume, which was stupid. I just think, though I love the show, it did get a happy ending to a degree, and I felt like it could have even lasted shorter. Didn't have to be 10 seasons. It could have been like 8 or 9. So I gotta go no for those reasons alone.
Yeah. And actually, I don't. I think with the costume thing, I think it was more of a case of
Tom didn't want to wear it.
Yeah.
He said in numerous interviews, and the whole premise of the show was no flights, no tights, so he wanted to live up to that premise. So.
Yeah, which is understandable because I mean, with there being the whole premise all the way through,
the whole premise.
So I mean, but yeah,
even though he flew numerous times throughout the series, just not as Clark Kent, but that's a technicality.
Yeah, I think they gave up on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Near the end was like, yeah, let's get as much powers as we can. But Ryan,
what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, gee whiz, man. I think Malcolm did this just so he can rattle Ryan's cage and put him in a really bad state here because I love this show so much. It means so much to me. It has a very special place in my heart. It got me through some hard times, and it inspires me when I think about it every day. And I love Tom. I love Erica. Anybody involved with it did a tremendously incredible job. And the way it ended, I'm okay with it. Could they have done some things differently, made it even bigger and better? Yeah, sure. For instance, actually show him in the suit, people. But, Tom didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. So, hey, Tom, I still love you, man. I still love you. You're cool. You're in my book. It's okay. Malcolm, why are you doing this to me? Respectfully, I'm going to have to say no because I feel like it ended fine in the series as a whole and then the season 11 comics, which, by the way, is in my lovely looking BCW comic book bin box right here. # not a sponsor. I read all the comics. They're great. They're fantastic. And then what we got with him, spoilers, he does appear on Crisis on Infinite Earths, the crossover that's in the process of airing, even though we're 60% of the way through. Good stuff there. I like what they did with Tom's character, even though my girl Erica should have gotten more screen time because she's the mother. But still, good stuff all around. I think it's fine the way it is. So respectfully, and I love you, Smallville. # we love you guys. You have to say no. You have to say no. Even though I'm looking at my red, ridiculously good-looking denim jacket from the show right over here on the hooks on my door, and I got a flannel shirt that I just bought that resembles something Clark would wear during that scene on Crisis on Infinite Earths on the farm. Malcolm, you're killing me.
To be fair, I love Smallville. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is coming from a guy who loves the show and will love the show to his dying breath, but I'm gonna have to respectfully say no, Malcolm. I'm sorry. Thanks for rattling my cage, though. Even though you should never do that to Ryan, but
I'm kind of glad Malcolm did bring it up because he did remind me of a show that's gonna be my next nomination. Because it's kind of the complete opposite of Smallville. Because he only got 1 season and it was a really good season, and NBC was an idiot for canceling this. There's a reason why he's still on the Arrowverse. They brought him back for the Arrowverse, for the CW Crisis. It's Constantine. Matt Ryan as Constantine was perfect. It was great.
Yeah, he was.
I love the characters. I mean, granted, some of the episodes weren't as good as others, but the show that they had for that 1 season, 13 episodes, was a good start. It was a good season. It needed to
Good
kept
start.
on going, and I'm still hoping they'll bring it back for the Arrowverse. It hasn't happened yet. I just feel like the cast they had was great. The premise is great. The fact that NBC didn't want to renew it was dumb, and so my nomination is for Constantine because I still want to see it.
Ryan, what do you say about Constantine?
Well, one of my hopes and dreams going into the year of 2020 is to meet John Constantine, and I believe his name is Matt Ryan. I do
Matt
hope to meet
Ryan.
him one day, and he seems like a good guy and a funny dude to be around. So I look forward to meeting him at your local Comic-Con. Look it up online, folks. He may be coming to a city near you. I liked the show. I thought it had a lot of potential. If it got a second season. First season I liked. Could have been better. Could have been worse. But it was a good, decent, solid season for its first outing. I'm looking at my list here, and I'm pretty sure none of my other ones are going to make the list. So for the sake of argument, yeah, let's give some Matt Ryan some credit here because it was a good show for its first season of 13 episodes. Let's give Constantine the benefit of the doubt. Let's say yes.
But yeah, with Constantine was a show that I never enjoyed.
Really?
This is one that I watched. I did watch all 13 episodes. I was like, this is fine. I thought the movie they did with Keanu Reeves was better than the show.
The movie was weird.
Michael loves Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, but Keanu Reeves is that character. Like looking back at it now, it's like, why did they cast him? It's so weird.
But this is one that I think if they do decide to give it another shot,
it could get
with
better.
With it being in the Arrowverse,
could be better.
This is one that they would have to change a lot of it to make it work because
it might need to be more lighthearted.
Well, I don't think necessarily needs to be lighthearted, but I think it's a case of they don't reference any of the show when they brought him in because from what I understand, I think Constantine was the first. This was the first time in the Arrowverse they actually brought a character back, or an actor back to play the same character in the Arrowverse, and this is one that a lot of people like arguing was like, oh, this makes Constantine part of the Arrowverse now because he's the same character. It's like, well, they haven't referenced the show. I mean, they've made. They did make that subtle reference, that subtle one in Cross and Infinite Earths when they meet. Spectre's like, not my Spectre.
Yeah.
That's not what I know.
Really? Wow.
But I mean, it's one that.
Well, they also mentioned Astra. He's mentioned Astra multiple times.
Well, I mean, I think with Astra, it's a different. Isn't that this one they meet in that last part of Legends?
No, Astra was the girl that he couldn't save in the original Constantine show. They never really showed her.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. It was a good subplot too.
I'm pretty sure that was the same one that they met anyway. But I mean, even with that mention of Astra, I think it's still going to be, if they do bring her in, that they'll probably recast that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it was a show that I did enjoy, but I don't have a problem with being here. But Ryan, we go back to you.
Yeah, the best one who has the best candidates, right? No, I'm kidding. For this list, anyway. Gee whiz, I mean, I'm looking at this list, and it's like, gee whiz, like, where do I go? Let's see here. Something that could have. All right. I don't think that one's gonna do it. Oh boy. What the hey? We'll give this one a whirl, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. What are you gonna do? This was a quirky procedural dramedy that had somewhat established actors on it at the time. It was led by a young actor, Matt Passmore. This was on the A&E network when A&E had a brain. It doesn't really have one now because all we see now are live PD reruns. No thanks, people. Move on to the next thing. This was a good procedural dramedy that had Matt Passmore, Kelly Sanchez, who was previously on Lost, even though she was only on for a couple of episodes. And then she went on to do other things as well. So she's been around. She's been around for a while. It was called The Glades. It was set in southern Florida, and it's about a guy who used to be a cop in New York. He does something wrong. He gets kicked off the force. They ship him down to Florida. He works near the Everglades, and he's working at a low-rent precinct with a boss that's always on his case, and Emmy, who's his best friend, but they get into weird, quirky adventures together, and he has a love interest played by Kelly Sanchez, who works as an Emmy or works with the Emmy's office or works with she works in a hospital, excuse me. And then she has a son. She's a single mom, and they hit it off. They have a quirky romance. He solves cases. She helps him out occasionally at times. It's a good dramedy. It was a lot of fun. And it went on for, I believe, 3 seasons, ended on a huge cliffhanger, which never got resolved, unfortunately. And A&E, this is when they were kind of testing their waters to see if they could bring out an original series with an original show, original premise on their network that they owned, rather than just, using reruns and, airing basically syndicated reruns, let's put it that way, respectively. And The Glades, I thought, was a good show. Had a decent theme song, had a fun cast, and it was fun to watch. It was better than some of the other procedurals I've seen out there because it was a little bit different, because they had a little bit of comedy in it, but it didn't beat you over the head with the comedy. It came in at the right place, at the right time, with the right character moments and the right cast, and really good acting. So let's put The Glades from A&E on the table. Matt Passmore, Kelly Sanchez, among others. What say you at the desk?
So is it The Glades?
The Glades. It was on A&E for 3 seasons. Stars Matt Passmore and Kelly Sanchez.
I found it.
Oh, there you are. You Google search. There you go.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
Why am I not surprised, Malcolm? There's a lot of things in this life you've never heard of. It's okay. We still love you, though.
Well, I mean, part of the reason I think I've never heard of it because I don't know if it got released in New Zealand.
That's fair.
Because. We got a lot of the shows from the major networks. These smaller ones like A&E and stuff like that, not so much. So yeah, I can't say. I have to say no because I've never heard of it. Richard, what do you say about The Glades?
I keep on seeing the show on Netflix. I always want to watch it. I never got a chance to. Because every time I see the show The Glades, I think of Arrow, obviously, because of The Glades. But I know it's not it. But it's one of the shows I definitely want to watch. I just haven't got to it yet. So I have to say no just because I haven't seen it. Sorry.
Still got homework to do. It's okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of shows I need to catch up on.
Me too. Yeah, we'll be here all night. But keep going, Malcolm. What's next?
It's back to me. But I'm bringing up another dramedy that I actually just remembered. Didn't get a lot. This one stars Lee Pace, wrote from the Hobbit trilogy. Played Fandral. You've got Kristen Chenoweth. You've got Susie Kurtz. You've got Jim Dale. Chi McBride is in this. David Arquette appears. You even got Paul Rubens appearing at one stage as well. I'm bringing up Pushing Daisies. This was a weird show, but it was a great show because this was the show about the character Ned who got the ability to bring the dead back to life, and he had to help solve how they were murdered, and it's definitely one of those ones. And then if he touches them a second time, they die permanently. But then it's a fun show, and it's definitely one that is bizarre, but and it didn't get its due. I would have loved to see where this would have gone if they had managed to sort of conclude it. But yeah, Chi McBride played a detective, and so yeah. Pushing Daisies is on the table. Richard, what do you say?
Can you get a Ryan first?
Right, and what?
Okay, I know of this show. I know the cat. I know a bit of the cast from other. I mean, they did other projects after this, obviously, but I never saw it. I know my brother liked it. I know my aunts liked it. It has a following for a very specific reason. I'm sure it's a good one, but I cannot comment nor speculate on it. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say no because I've never seen pushing daisies. However, I do know what the expression means when you're pushing up daisies. Yeah, it means you're dead.
Okay, the reason why I asked him to go first is I have seen the show. It
Okay.
was on my list. Originally, I didn't
Was
think
on
I
your
took it. I
list.
took it off the list though because I didn't think anyone would have heard of it. Just because like it was so poorly marketed. Like it was very poorly marketed, and it was a good show. I enjoyed it massively. It got really weird. I agree, and I don't want to be that guy who says yes because I personally want the show. I personally love the show. I mean, depending on what, because I think all of us are kind of throwing up stuff now because we're like, what's going to make us nuts? You know what? I'm going to say yes. Put Pushing Daisies on there. Because we only have one more now.
Then I know I've added an extra word into that title, but
Pushing up. Yeah.
And actually, that's closed off the list.
Yeah, we got our dirty dozen, or in this case, a dozen, because some of these are good, some of these I may not agree with, but hey, that's the beauty of the show. You never know what you're going to hear or what you're going to see appear on a list.
Because there is another show I was going to pitch, but I don't think anyone would ever heard of it.
There's a lot of shows I didn't get to, but we can always mention that before we start voting in our honorable mentions. Am I right, Malcolm?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, looking at this list, and I've come to the conclusion, what is it about sci-fi shows that don't make them not last?
Here's the thing. It's not like there's some... I mean, there's a lot of sci-fi shows, but we could have gone a whole list about sci-fi shows alone. I thought we got some good mixtures in there.
Oh, yeah, that was my point of bringing that up. There's still a good chunk of sci-fi ones on this list. But Richard, did you have any honorable mentions?
Space Cases. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
Walter Jones before he was the Black Ranger. Yeah.
It's basically... Well, he was basically the kids' version of Star Trek on Nickelodeon. I love that show. I just didn't push it on there because I didn't think you guys would have heard of it because hardly anyone does.
I watched it.
Also, I was thinking Just the 10 of Us. It was the Growing Pain spinoff with the coach. I really liked that show. I only got, I think, two or three seasons. The Lone Gunman, the X-Files spinoff with the three people. I really liked that. It only had a season.
Yeah.
And Girl Meets World. I think that show, it should have kept on going. It was the show that kids could have enjoyed, and Disney only does the 4 seasons thing now. And I think it was as good as the original when he was a kid. They didn't have a chance to grow the show like Boy Meets World did. So those are my honorable mentions.
That show does have a following, I believe.
Yeah.
But Ryan, what did you have?
Yeah, Ryan has a laundry list here, Malcolm, so fasten thy seatbelts. I had Law & Order Los Angeles, Law & Order Trial by Jury. I had Terra Nova from Fox. I had The Secret Circle, which was like a semi-spinoff of Vampire Diaries on the CW, even though it was based on a different set of books. You had The Event from NBC, Lone Star with James Wolk from Fox, Stalker from CBS with Nikita herself, Maggie Q, the very beautiful Maggie Q, I might add. You had V, the remake series from ABC with Laura Vandervoort. Speaking of Smallville connections, hey. You had Flash Forward, which was like the next Lost somewhat on ABC, which I thought was good. It could have had a chance to grow. And it had a non-scripted show. This is a reality show of all things. This is a reality competition show that they rebooted from the 80s. I actually really enjoyed. Now, granted, if this show didn't end and extended its run, then Gina Carano probably wouldn't have gotten the role as Cara Dune on The Mandalorian. And I'm talking about American Gladiators, son. I actually enjoyed that rebooted series with Hulk Hogan and Layla Ali as the hosts. I dug it, and plus, I did have a crush on Gina Carano herself, and I still do to this day. Gina, what's up?
Oh, I just missed another honorable mention. Legends of the Hidden Temple. Screw my life.
Yes.
The game show.
Yes.
Purple Parrots all day, and also Designated Survivor.
Yeah, Malcolm, I make a motion. We remove Pushing Daisies, put it in Legends of the Hidden Temple on there. Let's do it.
No.
Oh, come on, man. You know you want to. We want to put that three-headed monkey together and get our temple guards out of there. Come on.
Purple Parrots, baby.
Hey, dude, hashtag Blue Barracuda, son.
Oh, I mean, this.
Yeah.
Malcolm's
I mean,
like, what are you talking about?
I mean, there's other shows that I'd much rather remove than Pushing Daisies, but anyway,
Anywho.
but for me, I didn't have a lot of honorable mentions that have technically like really early cancellations one, but I mean other shows I had on here are ones that did get a good ending, which was like I had Once Upon a Time, I had Fresh Prince, I had Friends, Lost, and all that. But I did hear Ryan bring up one which in honor of Zadie Smith, I've done a hashtag. Um,
Yeah.
Oh,
Terra,
hey, man.
Terra Nova in the event would have been a huge no for me.
Oh, that's okay. I can be the one who still enjoyed them.
it I don't know if it's because it's bad. I mean, I've never seen Terra Nova myself.
Terra Nova ended on a big cliffhanger, man.
I think it came from one of his TV matches, which someone put up Terra Nova or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Z-Man, but I enjoyed that show. Sue me.
But now we get to the fun part where we're actually ranking it.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we write down what we want at 12 on our whiteboards.
Oh, do I need
Or
my
pieces
whiteboard
of paper.
Okay.
All bits of paper. Anything you've got.
Oh, can you give me one
I-
second?
I-
I can grab my whiteboard.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. And this segment of Rankum is brought to you by Get your local whiteboard at your local store today. And make sure you get plenty of markers so you have a writing utensil to use. And an eraser. Brought to you by our good friends at Expo. Get used to it.
But yeah.
Hashtag not a sponsor. Sorry.
But yeah, just Garth just popped up in the chat, and
I got my whiteboard.
I mean, this wasn't really so much about cancelled too soon shows. It's just about shows that have been cancelled. But just to recap, what we've got on the list, we've got Alphas, we've got Timeless, we've got Freaks and Geeks, we've got Agent Carter, we've got Daredevil, we've got Kyle XY, we've got Joan of Arcadia, we've got Animorphs, we've got Stargate Universe, we've got Kenan and Kel, we've got Constantine, and we've got Pushing Daisies. So yeah, I've already got my number 12 written on my board. I've had it written there ever since the show got brought up. So
jeez.
But so Richard, what do you have for 12?
I said Pushing Daisies.
Ryan, what do you have for 12?
Pushing Daisies. Richard and I are thinking alike tonight.
Yeah, I had Constantine.
Ooh, Matt Ryan will be happy. And he watches this show every week, Malcolm. Every week, Matt Ryan is watching this.
I mean, if he's watching it, then just send me a message. Come on as a guest at one stage.
He should be a guest. I think we would love to have you on as a guest, Matt Ryan. Let's see what else.
Okay.
Which one is on here?
Okay, I'm starting to do my list now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, should I put this one on there or this one on there? I don't know. I'm going with this one. All right, got it. Took me a second, but I got it.
But Ryan, what do you have for 11?
He was one of the greatest movie trivia showdown players to ever play the game, but I've never seen you work. Sorry, Sam. Freaks and Geeks.
I've still got Constantine. Ryan, Richard.
I have Kenan and Kel.
So we go to
do we have to go to the chat?
Go to the chat for the tiebreaker. So chat, Kenan and Kel, Constantine, or Freaks and Geeks. What should be number 11 on our shows that are cancelled?
How many people are in the chat tonight? Do we know how many people are in there?
We've got 2, but if I don't hear anything in a bit, then we'll go to everyone's favorite thing in the world, the wheel.
The digital wheel? No, I'm kidding.
In a way, it is. But
great, you gotta love that digital wheel at live events, right?
But we've got some things in the chat, uh, which doesn't help because Garth said Freaks and Geeks and Jay Oliveira said Constantine.
I know what, I'll tell you what. If you want, I can switch mine.
I mean, it's up to you.
I will switch mine to Freaks and Geeks since this seems like the consensus. Freaks and Geeks it is.
All right, that's number 11.
Which I think is a shame, but
but yeah.
There it is.
I mean, it wasn't so much a consensus because it would have it would have just taken the tide down to 2 and meant one less show I'd have to put on the wheel. But
yeah,
number 10 is what we're going for. I mean, overall, I feel like we got a good list of like different genres and different character actors and different casts. Like, I think it's, what am I trying to say? It's a bit diversified.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's a bit of diversity in this list. Is that fair to say? I guess it is.
And talking about Schmodown, tomorrow I will be revealing what the bracket for the Schmodown personalities thing is going to be. So look out for that. There's definitely some interesting people that will probably have made this bracket. So
I'm very curious to see how that's going to turn out, and I believe some of us on this panel may have turned in a list for that too.
Yep,
it's exciting.
But yeah, I've still got Constantine. Richard, what do you have for 10?
I have Stargaze Universe.
Hey, Stargate Universe, right here. This is great. Richard and I are on the same wavelength tonight, folks. This hardly ever happens on these wonderful shows.
But yeah, Stargate Universe is going to be 10.
Okay. Let's see here.
It definitely should be higher, but that's just me.
And I do want to watch that at some point. SGU, I want to watch that.
But yeah.
Right. Let me see. Am I reading this right? Yeah, I got it.
But yeah,
Excuse
Richard, what do you have for number 9?
All right, now I have Constantine for number 9.
Great, Malcolm. You get your wish because I have Keenan and Kel.
Yep. Wouldn't it have been funny if I decided that I was going to give up on that thing and change it?
All right, I got to scratch that.
Because it's funny. I've done that once before to bite me in the ass. For they're not going to they're not going to put this one higher. Than next thing I know is I change it, and that's when they were going to put it. But yeah,
It's got number 8. Number 8.
Which one am I missing?
Just to recap what we've got left, we've got Alphas, Timeless, Agent Carter, Daredevil, Kyle XY, Joan of Arcadia, Keenan and Kel, and Animorphs.
Okay.
But Ryan, what do you have for 8?
I'm not giving up on this one, folks. It's Keenan and Kel. It does not age very well, and that is the truth.
Richard, what do you have for 8?
I have Timeless.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I have got a show called Keenan and Kel.
Okay,
there you go, man. I like it.
I mean, I love the show, but I'm looking at what's left, and I always make the rule that I never vote for shows I've never seen, just because unless I really have to. It's one of those ones you can't really judge a show that you've never seen. In my eyes, in my eyes anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Now we're on number 7.
And this is actually pretty tough for me. I've got to do it I've got to do this.
I gotta do me right now. Okay.
But yeah, Jay Oliveira says in the chat that he asked us if we've seen a show called Kolchak the Night Stalker. I do not
have
know.
not.
I have
I've
no
not
idea what
seen
that
that.
is.
Don't think I've heard of it either, so can't comment or speculate.
But then Garth also says that he likes that Constantine became a regular on Legends Tomorrow, and that him and Lucifer meeting in Crisis was great.
Yeah, that scene actually made a whole lot of sense because they both deal in similar areas of their trade. So I was like, "Hey, that's interesting," but I get it.
And it's one of those ones I completely forgot that Lucifer was actually a completely different show to Constantine.
From a different network. Yeah.
Yeah, for the longest time I thought Lucifer was just regular on Constantine, but that being said, I'm at 7. I put Daredevil.
Ooh.
Why, Richard?
I have Timeless. I haven't seen it, so I can't judge. So I'm going for ones I haven't seen.
We're gonna have to go to the chat for the tiebreaker, ladies and gentlemen, because Ryan has an MCU character, even though it was a good show, just not quite as good as some of the others. Agent Carter at number 7.
So yeah, chat. Daredevil, Agent Carter, or Timeless for number 7.
Timeless or Agent Carter would be fine. Either one is okay.
I mean, technically, we both had an MCU character because Daredevil was still loosely connected to the MCU, even though they never explicitly said it.
Yeah, but Daredevil is somewhat better than the other two candidates, so I'm going to put it higher. Just saying, folks. Just saying. Daredevil's a good show, even though I've only seen 2/3 of it.
Well, I mean,
so good, though. And the theme song for that show is so good.
I mean, the chat did it. If there is anyone else in the chat, Timeless, Agent Carter, or Daredevil for the number 7.
Those are the candidates.
I have one vote for Timeless. I see.
I wish I could see the chat. It kills me. I can't see this stuff.
You can hit the live comments. You should be able to see it from there.
Okay. Where am I? I'm on a different setup than you guys are, so I can't see it.
Because I can see it.
No, I'm on a different setup than you guys. That's why I can't see it.
But yeah, it's split between Thomas and Agent. Stardrew, you disappoint me.
Just say Timeless or Agent Carter. Just don't say Daredevil.
Well, it's why I said Stardrew, you disappoint me because
change your vote to Timeless. Yeah.
Is it Timeless?
Yes.
Man. I'm kind of bummed. Kind of, but not too badly.
You're gonna be pretty bummed for my next choice. I don't think I'm gonna get to it.
Oh, well, I'd be extremely bummed. Timeless is my number 1.
Oh, really?
Timeless would have been my number 1.
Oh, Daredevil's my number 1. Now you know
really
how.
in love with that show, aren't you?
But Ryan, what do you have was 6?
I'm still not gonna quit, man. Agent Carter, okay?
I'm not gonna quit. Daredevil.
Oh, come on.
I have Joan of Arcadia. So.
No, that is
again.
television.
Hold
that
on. To be fair, I will gladly change up my decision. I just haven't seen Joan of Arcadia.
It is
so again.
Quality,
what were your 2 choices again?
Daredevil,
Agent Daredevil.
Which one?
Agent Carter and Daredevil.
Okay, I'm switching my vote to Agent Carter.
There you go. You smart man. You chose wisely. There you go. See, I reversed that line. So. Yeah, but I'm reversing it because I'm going to tell Richard, you have chosen wisely.
No, I was telling Richard you chose poorly.
Oh, no, that's fair. You can give him the Donovan line, but still. You can give him the Donovan curse, but still, man. All right, so now we're on number 5, I believe. So.
Yep.
What am I going to put? Let me see here. We got to.
We've got Alphas, Daredevil, Kyle XY, Joan of Arcadia, and Animorphs.
What are the other ones? Oh, we still... Okay, let me see. Right. All right, let me think here. This is tough. This is actually... Oh, we lost Richard. We seem to have lost Richard here.
That's right. it's what something probably happened. With
Hopefully,
his
we'll get him
phone.
back in a minute. So we're
Yeah.
going on number 5, and we got Agent Carter. All right, we'll go. Yeah. Let me see. We have.
I brought up Firefly. They said no to it.
Hello, sorry, I lost internet, so I'm going to be on my data.
It's all good.
I got
Garth does
I'm
bring
also on
up
the phone.
that next season Agent Shield will be time travel and will involve Agent Carter in some form.
Oh.
I don't know. I heard that Agent Carter was going to be in that season. I don't know how much we'll see of him. For we know, it could just be one episode.
Maybe a
that
quick
he'll
cameo.
do. Well, I mean, I don't think it'll be a quick cameo. I think they'll utilize it somewhat. That's not so much a quick cameo. That's probably used it for an episode arc. I think, but they're probably going to do something that's going to sort of wrap up the season perfectly. But yeah, Ryan, what do you have for 5?
Just because I haven't seen the complete. Huh?
So just double check for 6. Was it Agent Carter? Did you guys hear me when I said I would switch to Agent Carter? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, we got it. It's on the books.
Okay, cool.
So numero 5, I went with, even just because I haven't seen the completion of his series yet. Sorry, buddy. Daredevil.
Richard.
I said Alphas.
Yeah, it's going to be Daredevil.
There you go.
Yeah, I figured.
There you go.
It's fine.
Haven't seen the completion of the show yet. So we got 4 left.
Okay.
So what are the last 4 candidates?
Alphas, Animorphs. Oh, sorry.
Animorphs, Strand of Arcadia, Cole XY, and Alphas.
Okay, got it.
This is where I have to do this.
Okay. So,
great candidates, but yeah, I got my number 4.
Ryan, what do you have for number 4?
Just because it didn't get the ending it so rightfully deserved. Sorry, Kyle. Kyle XY. Love you, Jamie Alexander, though.
Richard?
I gotta go Joan of Arcadia. I haven't seen it. Like, I gotta go Joan of Arcadia.
Why did you do this to me, Richard?
What'd you put, Malcolm?
Well, it's a case of this has been I have to put a show I've never seen. I put Alphas.
Oh.
Okay. Do you want me to switch again? Because I could easily switch.
I mean,
to Alphas.
it's up to you if you want to switch.
I can easily switch it to Alphas.
Because I mean, I know you've never really seen either of them, so.
Yeah, I've seen Alphas though. That was the thing. I've seen Alphas.
Yeah. I mean, you switch, but yeah. So Alphas go.
It's just like,
dude.
Yeah, Alphas.
Oh. And this was a moment in which I was talking about when someone changed it, and it would have gone in the next one, but never mind. Now we get down to our number 3. We've got Kyle XY, Joan of Arcadia, and Animorphs. This is kind of an easy one for me.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
But yeah, Richard, what do you have for number 3?
I have no choice. I know what you guys are going to pick, so.
Ryan, what do you have for number 3?
Not giving up, man. Kyle XY.
Yeah. As much as I love Joan of Arcadia, I put Joan of Arcadia.
Dude, so wrong.
I'm switching mine to Joan. I'm switching mine to Joan of Arcadia. Absolutely, I'm switching it. It's at number 3. I thought you guys, because since both you guys lived at Joan of Arcadia, that's why I'm like, God dang it.
Did you not see our reactions when you brought up Animorphs?
So is that it? Number 3 is Joan of Arcadia. Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Joan.
All right.
You deserve better than this. I'm just gonna say it out.
Now, instead of putting your number 2, you write down the number 1.
So what are the 2 candidates again?
Yeah.
Animorphs and Kyle XY.
Oh boy. All right. Yep, we're going that way, folks.
Even though my number one got super low, being number.
All right, I got it.
Yeah, I got mine too.
But Ryan, what do you have for number one?
Number one, in this case, for the candidates that were left, I went with Animorphs.
Richard.
I went with Animorphs too.
Call this a clean sweep.
Hey! Hey!
Oh, this is not how I thought this was going to turn for the top 12. That's great.
Yeah, this is going to cause so much commotion in the chat rooms, in the locker rooms, the water coolers tomorrow morning when people are viewing this on their way to work. Oh my goodness gracious, is this going to cause a stir on the interwebs,
Well,
folks?
here's the thing I have to appreciate about this list. Like, I've started to watch, all the other shows. Like, this is like the most like diverse, like kind of grouping I've seen of shows, and it's great. Like, it's not the ones you would most likely think. Some of them are, not all of them. That's what I like about this one.
Yep.
But yeah, this is one of those ones that I know that a lot of people, the one show that everyone's probably going to be really super surprised that didn't make this list is Firefly. That's going to be the one that's going to be the what the fuck moment when I put the poll up. So I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised when you guys said no to it, but just to recap our list for cancelled TV shows or ended, I cannot just because we never really know why they finished. But at number 12, we got Pushing Daisies. At 11, we got Freaks and Geeks. At 10, we got Stargate Universe. At 9, we got Constantine. At 8, we got Kenan and Kel. At 7, we've got Should Be Higher Timeless. At 6, we've got Agent Carter. At 5, we've got Daredevil. At 4, we've got Alphas. At 3, we've got Joan of Arcadia. At 2, we've got Kyle XY. And number 1 is Animorphs.
I'm just surprised Alphas beat Daredevil. Oh.
Yeah,
I will say, like, real quick about the defense about Firefly. I know everyone loved Firefly, but at least Firefly got Serenity. A lot of these shows didn't even get a Serenity type of film.
Or a proper ending.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing why I don't want to put Firefly. It did get an ending, whether you agree with it or not. It got a... And I like the ending of Serenity.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones... I mean, it's one of those ones with Timeless. The ending was a directed TV movie, so to speak. If we're talking about just the TV shows themselves, the movie Serenity, even though it's essentially the ending of that series, it's a movie. It wasn't made for the movie. Wasn't made for TV. So there's that argument to be made too. And Garth mentions in the chat, Animorphs being number 1 and Firefly, and no, Firefly is going to get a lot of debate in the comments for sure. But I mean, I don't know about Animorphs being number 1 getting a lot of debate. Because I know that I've talked to a few other people about Animorphs, so I don't know if that will get a lot of upset that it was number 1, but who knows? We don't really know. But yeah, next week is going to be our annual my annual best movies of 2019. The panel is all set, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So there won't be a poll up today because of that. But Ryan, where can people find you online?
Yes, sir. Once again, Malcolm, thanks for having me on Rankum. Thanks for having me on another video with the Take 3 team. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Also follow me on Letterboxd at letterboxd.com/RyanMovieBuff. You can find out all my lists there for certain movies, certain genres, certain decades, all that kind of stuff, and my hot takes, because that is what Ryan is so good at, is hot takes. And also make sure to check out my podcast called The Nerdcast on Anchor and wherever you download your podcast. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel, Nerd Culture. We just did our holiday set of videos called 12 Days of Nerd Culture. Look that up on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. You can find us there. Do all that stuff, and I hope to see you again. And by the way, happy holidays and have a happy new year in 2020. Thanks for having me.
Richard, where can people find you online?
They can find me on Facebook under Richard Schwartz. You can find me on YouTube and Twitter under External Void. I do WWE Champions Mobile Gaming. I'm on a little bit of a hiatus dealing with some personal stuff, but I'll come back eventually. And you can find me walking up and down LA because I got nothing better else to do. I had a lot of fun. I hope I get to come back to one of these shows. Probably not, but I would like to come back.
And yeah, you can find me on Tape 3 hosting Rankum every week. This is the last show of the decade, last show of the year. But so you'll see us back next year, maybe on a different regular day. I haven't quite decided on that yet. I just need to work out the details with the rest of Tape 3, see what where they want shows to be on there. You can find me doing bracketeers every month. There'll be a video going up tomorrow in which I announce what the Shimodan Personalities bracket is going to be, and the matches. I may even start matches tomorrow. Haven't quite decided on that yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And you can find me all over the fan leagues and doing everything else on Formula Random and all that. Formula Random is on a break for a little bit. It will technically be back for a Trivia for Fun, but the official start will be the week after. In which I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the Screenwriters match between Jake Marangoni and Caleb Coho as the first official match to kick us back off. But yeah, so there's a lot of fun. And I wish everyone a happy new year. And until next year, keep listing shit.